welcome to my channel. I'm Elma. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. So today I'm really excited to be sharing with you my tips and tricks on how I take and edit my Instagram pictures. Before I continue, I just want to say there are going to be parts to this video and there are going to be timestamps to them in the description box. So if you want to just skip ahead to the part that interests you the most, just check the description box for those timestamps. So, you don't waste your time and you don't get impatient because I do talk a lot. Anyways, I do hope you enjoy this video. If you do, don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up. It really does help my channel. And if you like what you saw, please subscribe. It will really mean the world to me. And when you have subscribed, please click on that little notification bell so you're notified when I have new videos. Now, let's get into it. I do hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so quick disclaimer before I get into the video. Obviously, this is not everybody's cup of tea, but it is mine, and I do want to share with you how I achieve my perfect feed. And honestly, the way I see it is like this. I'm a beauty YouTuber and I like things to look a certain way. Not every beauty YouTuber or influencer or blogger is like this, but this is how I am and this is how I want my Instagram feed to look because that's the aesthetic I am going for. And also, I just want to put it out there, like, I don't think you should be hating or shaming anybody who do these things. It's just a personal preference. If it's not your thing, that's amazing too. And a lot of beauty influencers, bloggers or whatever don't do these things and they have amazing feeds, and honestly I wish I could be one of those, but I am not. I am me and this is what works for me. So that being said, let's get right into it. I hope you enjoy. It actually depends. It could be the Canon 70D. This is what I'm using to film right now, and I use the 18 to 55mm lens or the 50mm lens. And usually if I take pictures with these, sometimes they end up on my Instagram feed, but most times they end up as my YouTube thumbnails because I just like the quality and how it looks, and it's just super convenient. And what I love about it is that it has a flip screen, and also it has that Wi-Fi connectivity thing where you can connect your camera to your computer or your phone and you can remote shoot with it, or just easily transfer pictures from the camera to your phone without having to remove the SD. Second camera I used to use, I don't have it anymore, was the Sony A5000. I think it's also called the Sony A5100. One thing I love about it is that it had the flip screen, and again it had that whole Wi-Fi built-in thing where you can transfer pictures directly from your camera to your phone and also remote shoot using your phone. So it's really handy. But I sold that and replaced it with the Canon G7X Mark II. I really like this camera because it's a bit smaller and less bulky than the Sony 5000, and again it comes with this whole flip screen thing which makes it super easy to take pictures without having to bend your back or be in front of a mirror to have a good shot. You just have to make sure you're looking into the lens and not up there, especially if you're vlogging. This is also a really great vlogging camera. The Sony camera as well was a really nice camera. The only reason I changed it is because my main camera is a Canon and I really like the image quality and the aesthetic of Canon pictures, and I wanted to have that sort of continuity with my vlogging camera slash Instagram taking camera. And so this is really simple. It's the iPhone or whichever phone you have. Usually these days the camera quality of the phone is super good, and you don't have to splurge on any of these big cameras I'm talking about because this will run you like $700 Canadian. And a tip for you if you're planning on buying any of, like, be it a DSLR or one of these compact cameras, if you can wait and you don't have the budget, Black Friday is the best time to buy electronics in my opinion. So yeah, I usually use the back camera and it's super handy and it's super good quality. I don't really advise to use the front camera because yes, it's amazing for selfies and Insta stories and Snapchat, but if you want that really good HD high quality picture, use the back camera. That's it for the tools I use to take my Instagram picture. So most times I use remote shooting because it's just easier. My hands are free and I just have my phone in my hand and I just have to click, 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 and I'm ready to go. I'm gonna show you the exact settings I used to use when shooting with the Sony. So a quick tip for you when you're shooting with all these little like point and shoot is, even though you have a lot of light around you, one thing that's really nice is to actually put on the flash, because it just makes your highlight pop even more. Depending on your lighting and stuff like that, you just have to adjust on whether or not you use the flash. But these days, what I use is my Canon G7X Mark II, and I really love this camera. One tip I have for you, especially with the point and shoot, is have a tripod. Here I have the Manfrotto tripod. One thing I really love about it is that it gives you a nice decent grip, especially like if you're vlogging as well. It's a good thing to have. And one thing specifically I love about the Manfrotto is that you can just place it anywhere and it just stands. It's not like the Gorilla Grip where you can actually like place it and like turn it and twist it and have it stable. It's quite rigid, but it's one of my favorites, this tripod. Also, one thing I love about it is like when you press the little red thing, you can swirl the little ball thing, so depending on where your camera is placed, you always have the right angle, just because like of the swirly thing. Like having the tripod is super easy. So just like this, I just have it up at a nice angle. Usually this angle is pretty good. My good side is actually really my left side, to be honest, but just know your angle. Where the light is where you want to go. Ideally, you know, you want to use natural daylight, but one thing I have to say is when using natural daylight, you don't want to be directly in the sun, because then everything just looks gritty. Your eyes are just like squinting and it's really not cute, and you have extra texture and it's not the prettiest. So you do want to be in the sunlight, but not direct sunlight. So be behind a window or a little bit far away from where the sun is hitting you directly, and you're good to go. And again, just like the Sony camera, having the flash on also really does help. It doesn't work for every picture. Sometimes you just have to see what works best, but sometimes you'll see if you want that little extra pop, the flash does come in handy. Real quick, I'm just going to show you the exact settings I use when shooting with my Canon G7X Mark II. The tip I have for you, and I recently discovered this, is when I take pictures from now on, I want them to be with the ratio 4:5. So you don't have that like square, it's more of like a rectangle, and it takes up more space and you have way more real estate, and I don't know, it just draws you more into the picture rather than have like the square then the like caption. You just have the picture first and then you have the caption, right? So you just like draws you in even more. So when shooting 4:5, you want to, you know, not necessarily shoot in square mode, just in normal photo mode, so you can just crop it to 4:5. And when using your camera, if for example you were shooting in landscape like this, just go a little bit further, so when you're ready to crop for Instagram, you can easily crop it to 4:5 with my camera. So usually I just use the back camera, is the best camera. Little tip for you is get you a pop socket. You're not gonna regret it. Pop socket is the best thing because again, it's all about the grip. So you have a better grip, a better balance, and like your pictures are not shaky and everything is just sturdy and nice. So pop socket is a good thing to have. There you go. All damn time. Anyway, this is how I do it. So let me just scoot over a little bit and record. So my favorite apps, my main apps I use to edit my pictures are Facetune 2 and Visco. I don't know how you call it. I just call it Visco Cam. So there's Facetune 1. The first one was good, but I personally prefer Facetune 2 because it's way more detailed. So a little tip for you is when you have a whole bunch of pictures, favorite them so they're easier to grab when you're ready to, you know, edit or whatever. And we're gonna edit, which picture are we gonna edit? You know what, let's edit this one. We're gonna edit this picture. So this picture was actually taken with my Canon 70D, and this is a picture taken with my Canon G7X without the flash, and this is taken also with my Canon G7X but with the flash. So no flash, flash. You see the difference? It just gives that extra je ne sais quoi. Anyway, the picture we're gonna be editing is this one. Actually no, let's do this one because you can see the highlight. So this is the picture we're gonna edit. So first things first I do is I go to retouch and I just zoom in because you just want to zoom in there, and depending on the state of my skin or whatever, I use Heal. So right now my makeup application is really looking pretty good, if I may say so myself, but I see there's a little thing here going on, so I just zoom in and very gently just tap right here to make this disappear. Honestly, you see, that's too much. There you go. Honestly, I could do without, but I'm gonna leave these. They're actually really cute. You see over here I have a little zip thingy here. Let's take that off. That's a beauty mark. Yeah, so that's all I'm gonna be doing in the healing part. Then I'm gonna move on to details, and details I usually detail my brows just a little bit to give them a little bit more life, and then I go in as well into the lash line, and I'm gonna come back to this in a little bit. So right here a little bit of detail over here also. I think that's about it, maybe a little bit on the flower. Before I continue, because my lash line over here is looking crusty, I'm just gonna save this over here and go to paint, and I'm just gonna go to picker and zoom in over here to the black and tone. So this is when that lash glue didn't go over it, so I'm just gonna darken that area just a little bit so that it doesn't look so obviously crusty. So before, after. It's the little things, guys, it's the little things. So right there, you see that's a little bit too much, so I can just go there you go. So yeah, it already looks way better. You see that? You see that? That's exactly what I'm talking about. And then we're just gonna go back to the retouching part because we are not done, guys. We are not done. So over here, my makeup is popping quite a lot already, but we're just gonna go to sharpen just a little bit, and we're just gonna lightly, just lightly, very lightly, just very lightly tap. And again, using this, I just usually go down to like 30. I don't use a lot of it, and just go, just so it pops a little bit more on the lips as well, so it pops a little bit more. See that? You see that? Before, after, before, after. It's all about subtlety. Just be subtle about it. You don't need to, you know, go cuckoo crazy, because if your makeup is already done right, you don't have much, you know, work to do. This is just, like I said, enhancing. You want to make that highlight pop. So that is, again, this is the first step to it. So you go a little bit and sharpen and just go over it, like just lightly tapping. There you go, just lightly tapping. You don't need a lot of tapage. Tuck, tuck, okay, tuck, tuck. That's looking pretty good to me. So now, to make that highlight pop even more, we're gonna go into structure. So this is where structure is usually for jewelry. So now I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, and again, tapping a little bit on the areas of the highlight, just very slowly and subtly, just checking that we don't. There you go. A little bit on the top lip here. And now for the cheek, just lightly, just tap, tap, tap. You see that? I'm just like tap, tap, tapping. Just tap, tap, tap. And just checking you got all the right areas. Check, check. You see, just like that. A little bit here in the center of the eye, just to make that pop a little bit. You see, before, after. It's all about subtlety. So usually you don't want to go more than, like, this is way too much, and then it starts giving you texture. So usually I don't go more than 50, sometimes even less. But this is pretty good to me because the highlight was already popping as is. So that's what I do. Now for glow. This is a neat trick for you. I don't use glow anywhere on my face. I use it on my hair, because I want to make that hair pop. So just make it dark, make that mane look prettier. You see that? Before, after, before, after. But the glow is way too much, so we're just gonna bring it down to like 55. You see? Okay, so now we're gonna smooth. I never use a smoother, I always use smooth. So you go to smooth, and you just want to just lightly just swirl in it. Sometimes I go a little bit on the eyes, just very lightly, a little bit on my chest, just to make everything look, you know, nice and smooth. We're just gonna see. You see, that's where we added it. So now you see that the smoothing is at 100. You do not want that. So usually smooth, I never leave it at 100. I usually just bring it down to like max 45. 45 is usually a nice, decent, realistic number. Before, after. You see, like if I go a lot like this, it's way too much in my opinion, right? So I just go down to 45. 45 is a good number. And obviously, like when I'm on my period and stuff like that, and I have a little bit more texture, I bring it up to like 50, but never more than 50, because then it's like way too much. We're done for now in this, so we're just gonna click on like. So this is how it was before, after, before, after. Not a lot has changed, and that is the point, guys. That is the point. We're gonna go back in retouch, and we're gonna go to fixed tone because I am washed out. So usually this brings in a little bit more of my melanin. Before, I look kind of grayish. After, my melanin is back. So if I popped it all the way 100, it's not what I want to do. So usually this is the only part where I go a bit crazy, and I usually bump it to like 75. 75 is a nice, decent number. Sometimes up to 80, but max 80 to be very honest. So here it is. We're done in face tune. So obviously you could whiten the background, do whatever the heck you want to do, but I don't feel the need to do that. This is before, this is after. It's just a little bit more popping, you know, just a little bit more popping. See, before, after. Not a lot has changed, right? So now we're gonna go into a VSC Go, copy to VSCO. Go over here. Again, VSCO is one of those apps you need some kind of subscription, but we are most interested in the C section. But yeah, my favorite is C3. And right now it looks crazy, but this is not what you want. I don't go all the way to 12. Usually C3, I go to like 2.5 is my go-to. So before, after. So next off is this little part over here. So I'm just gonna go to exposure, and you can either go dark or go really light. Usually I like to go a bit darker, so I usually go to minus 0.5. Not more. 0.5 is usually, because then it's way too much. I feel you lose all that brightness, right? So I go to minus 0.5, ta-da, and click OK. Next is contrast. For contrast, again, we're gonna go into the negatives. You could obviously go all the way here or here. By contrast, I usually go again minus 0.5. I feel it gives the look I want to go for. Now saturation is where all the magic happens. So you want to go, you don't want to go super crazy because this is what happens, and you don't want to go this because then you go gray, right? So usually for saturation I go to 0.4, 0.6 max, but usually it's like a 0.3, 0.3. It's just perfect. It's like the little things, like honestly, like obviously I could do without, but I don't know what it is. And last but definitely not least, this is how you get that Vogue grainy cover texture back to your skin thing, and it is grain. So grain, okay guys, sometimes some people go cuckoo crazy on grain, like mad, and I'm just like, nah honey. Okay, except if it's a look you're going for, I suppose, but this is way too much for my liking. Usually I don't bring it more than like, I don't bring in more than 3. So for this case, I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit more so I have a better idea. You see, like 3 is too much for me right now, so I'm just gonna bring it down. I'm gonna bring it down to like 2. You see, that is before. Okay, before, after. You see, I have a little texture added back into the skin, giving me that magazine look. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is done. So I'm just gonna save it, and now I'm just gonna show you a quick little tip. Okay, let's just go in pictures. Let's just use this one. Okay, so let's just import this. So let's say you have your editing skills down to a T, and you're not into that whole redoing all what I just did over and over and over again. So what you do is you click on the picture you've already edited that has those little changing things, and you just click on the 3 dots at the bottom, and you go to copy edits. So it's going to copy all the edits you did in this picture, and then you can go over here and just paste the edits, and it's already done for you. So if you have a specific aesthetic and you know your camera settings are almost always the same, this is a cool trick, so you don't have to redo the whole editing over and over again. Afterwards you can just go back into the picture and adjust accordingly, but you know, you don't do the whole shebang thing, right? I'm gonna save it, save to camera roll, actual size, always actual size. So now we're gonna go into my camera roll, and this is the picture already. Look at it, isn't it so pretty? Okay, so now that this is done, I'm just gonna go to share, Planoly, upload, and we're just gonna go to the Planoly app, refresh, and there it is. And you know, you just place it, but clearly there's, wait, this is not how my feed looks, so I'm just gonna add one placeholder here. Okay, so there you go. Here's my picture ready to go. Edit the caption, then upload to Instagram. You have it. This is how I edit my Instagram pictures. I hope that this was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up. It really does help my channel and it helps me know what content you like. If you have any tips and tricks that I maybe forgot or you want to share with someone else, please comment below. Let's get the discussion going. Please be nice. Please. I know that this is a very controversial kind of video, but like I said in the beginning, this is how I like my pictures to look like. This is how I like my feed to look like, and yeah. My outro is long enough. Bye.